Hello and welcome back to the JW Thoughts channel. My name is Wally and today we are looking at another news development. Now I was going to do the video I most recently uploaded and this one together, but in an effort in 2023 to try and keep videos a little bit shorter, I decided to separate them out because I think we have another indication that Watchtower might be turning into a real estate company. And it's really fascinating to sort of break down some of these details. So don't forget to drop a like on this video and subscribe to the channel. I'm here, ZZ's here, and let's do this.
Baked macaroni treats with a major twist.
And what's the twist?
Breast milk.
One day before my birthday, I clicked on to jw.org and I saw this as a news release. Jehovah's Witnesses to relocate Central America branch. The governing body has approved plans to relocate the Central America branch office, which is currently near Mexico City, Mexico. A 5-member blah 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 blah. Since 1974, the existing branch has been renovated and expanded several times. By 2011, the theocratic work in Belize, Costa Rica, El Salvador, Guatemala, Honduras, Nicaragua, and Panama had come under the supervision of the Central America branch. To meet their current needs, the existing branch facility would require further expansion and many upgrades. Thus, it was decided to develop a new facility on a different site that would better care for the growing Central America branch and create a more suitable work environment to support the kingdom preaching. So there has been a branch in Mexico City since 1974. It has been renovated several times. All cool, fine, that's wonderful. And now, because of the growing need that they have, they are trying to relocate. Now, what possibly could this growing need really be? Well, I just was curious, so I looked at the numbers for 2022. Yes, I am going to do an annual report video. I just haven't gotten around to doing it quite yet, but I found this to be fascinating. Notice the countries that all reported either zero growth or negative growth. They lost members. Argentina, Bolivia, Brazil, Chile, Colombia, Costa Rica, Cuba, Dominican Republic, Ecuador, El Salvador, Honduras, Mexico, Nicaragua, Paraguay, Peru, Uruguay, Venezuela. Historically, Watchtower has seen most of their growth from either Africa or South America, Central America. Now they're all seeing no growth there, or they are losing more members than they're gaining. Which means, what are they talking about that in order to help with the expansion, the needs of the branch, that they need to build a new one? That's not real. There is no expansion. There is no growth in these areas. There actually should be shrinking down their operations. This, in my mind, is one of the clearest indications that they have become nothing more than a real estate company who is just trying to flip houses, or in this case, branch offices. And we've seen this before, and I think they were embarrassed by it. If you guys will have remembered, there was a one of the most infamous JW broadcasts of all time, May 2015, where Stephen Lent went on to say, we're never going to ask for money, and then proceeded to beg for money for an hour and a half. It was horrible. And in there, there was a video about the branch in Cameroon, and then that has mysteriously vanished from jw.org. I did a whole series on these lost videos, and they've even made that whole broadcast a little bit harder to find. But if you guys want to catch up with the lore, I'll put a link in the description for those videos as well. But I think that was another example where they just said, hey, look at this new branch, it's going to be so great. And the end result of moving and relocating was so that they could house, I can't remember, it was like 13 or 20 new people. 20 new people to work inside of a branch office. It made no sense. And they even asked the people in Cameroon that they should be increasing their donations in order to pay for it. So I'm just trying to deconstruct this. And I think one of the reasons why this sort of subject fascinates me is because I think it highlights how man-made this organization is, how it is just like any other company out there. And I just want to break this down and talk about it in those terms. So let's do that. And I'll try and do this as succinctly as possible and not just have it turn into a rambling, bumbling mess, kind of like my old videos used to be. But Watchtower, over the last few decades, has had this self-aware moment where they've realized that they are not putting their effort into the right things in order to keep sustainable for a long time. So let's go all the way back to when they were producing magazines for the public. All during the 90s and the 80s, when they had a lot of growth, they were making a lot of public magazines available to people. I think it was a 32-page Watchtower and a 32-page Awake article that would arrive once every 2 weeks, because the preaching work at that time was considered a profitable business venture. You know, they were making magazines and a lot of people were preaching, and because of the preaching, people were coming into the organization. When people come into the organization, their donations increase. It made sense for them. Well, all of that started to change, and they realized that the preaching work was becoming less and less effective. The age of the internet came upon Watchtower, and people weren't wanting to join Jehovah's Witnesses anymore, because when you knock on someone's door, the first thing that they're going to do in 2023 that they couldn't do in 1993 is Google or ask Alexa, who are Jehovah's Witnesses? And with all of the apostate results that come up because of that, well, people aren't going to join anymore. So what did they do? They realized that it wasn't profitable and scaled back the production of magazines. I don't even know how many they produce now. The last I checked, it was like once every 6 months you get one 16-page Awake that was mostly pictures, and 116, correct me if I'm wrong, I can't exactly remember all the details, but they realized that their growth was pretty much only coming from people that were drawing in their non-Jehovah's Witness family members and baptizing children. So they sort of shifted their focus into making more videos, online content, and that became their new focus. So Watchtower in that moment realized that, hey, we have all of this money going out to produce this. Now it's not getting the result. Now we should scale back on that. Now that directly relates to Bethelites as well. So back in the day, Bethel was really seen as a printing operation. Sorry if there's a lot of noise and stuff in the background. Trees are being chopped around wires. I don't know what's going on. But anyway, we'll just keep pressing on. But it was really seen as a printing operation. The printing and shipping of magazines was one of the focal points. And when people envisioned, what goes on at Bethel, they envisioned, people packing boxes and shipping them out full of Bibles and books and all sorts of things. Well, that doesn't really exist anymore. On top of that, they had a bloated workforce. In a Bethel, there would be 50 people that were doing, getting something done, producing. And then there would be 250 people that were just maintaining the grounds and cleaning and cooking. So what did Watchtower do when they realized that, wow, we have way too much staff? They cut back. They made massive layoffs. They said, well, you can cook some of your own meals. Well, you can clean your own room. Well, you can do some of your own laundry. We don't need to be doing all of this for you. So they made cutbacks like any business would. It was a business that looking like, okay, where are we wasting money? How can we trim the fat? And we got to let some of you guys go. It's literally just a business. Even as I'm saying it, I'm just like blown away at just how similar it sounds to like a company. Like if you made me head of Watchtower, these are all things I suppose I would do. So now that we're in 2023 or over the last few years, what is their big concern? Well, it's been in-person meetings, especially after the pandemic. They're trying to push in-person meetings. And guess what? It's not working. It's not happening. And we can see Watchtower is just stressing it more and more and more because that's a revenue source for them. People are at the meetings. Well, when people are at the meetings, they used to donate money. Now that no one's attending meetings as often, people aren't donating money because more and more people are becoming inactive. So it's a problem for them. So the heads of Watchtower sit down and what do they say? Well, where are we making money? Where is our cash coming from? It's coming from real estate. And what's the easiest thing to do? Well, let's sell this Bethel that's in this maybe older part of town, buy some property in a prospective place that we think might be an up-and-comer, and build office buildings there and residential buildings there. Don't focus so much on printing presses and dining halls and things like that, but on stuff like that. And that way we have a valuable asset. Also, whenever we say we're building a branch in an area, we can see that there's an increase in donations that are made. So you get to double dip. You get to invest in a property and also get an increase in revenue. It's a win-win situation. Then you can sell off the old one. You have a more valuable asset. You increase your revenue. Watchtower wins. Another great example of this is with their remote translation offices. The remote translation office is like one of the most bewildering things. For those of you that don't know, Watchtower, one of the only things that they're holding on to now, as far as expansion and growth, is that they translate their material in like 900 languages. Like whatever obscure language is out there that like 5 people speak, Watchtower is going to try and find a way to translate a video or a little tract or pamphlet in that language. So in order to like sort of stick with this scheme that they have of real estate, they go and build these little houses all over the world and call them, here's these RTOs, and they're so necessary. But they're not necessary. It's remote work that doesn't require people to go to a physical building. The Watchtower could literally just, if there's someone that's translating information for them, they could just buy them the necessary equipment. A microphone, a computer, I guess if they're doing some sign language, a camera, and a green screen. Bada bing, bada boom, a couple $1,000 and you're good to go. There's no sense in paying hundreds of thousands of dollars unless you're able to flip that asset, and people will increase their donations in that area because they know that, look, we need to pay for this remote translation office. And then they can turn around and sell it and say, well, that wasn't in the most optimal location. I think it would be Jehovah has told me. Jesus came to me in a dream and gave me the download and said that remote translation office would be better serving the community if it was 20 miles down the road. So they sell that one, build another one, and they rinse and repeat. It's not divine intervention. It's a business strategy. They are only getting money, significant amounts of money, from their real estate holdings. So they need to just keep moving branches all over the place. They need to keep moving kingdom halls all over the place. When Tony Morris says, we need 15,000 kingdom halls, what he really meant by that is we need to build 15,000 kingdom halls so we can sell 15,000 kingdom halls. That was the little part that he left out there. And I find it mind-blowing that Watchtower does this in such a public way. If I was Watchtower's PR team, I would not be producing this like on our main homepage. I would just make it as private as possible because people aren't that stupid. They're going to look at the numbers in Central South America and say, things aren't looking too good. Why are we needing a bigger, newer branch? This one's fine. People aren't dumb. They'll be able to put it together. Now, what do I think all of this means? Well, plain and simple, the more Watchtower tries to buy and sell property, and, that little bar is going up, and their membership is flatlining or decreasing, I think that is a huge success for the downfall of Watchtower, or for Jehovah's Witnesses to eventually say, I don't want to be a part of this anymore, because I think people are realizing that they can believe in their God Jehovah from home. They can believe in whatever. I'm not a believer myself. Whatever, you can do that from home. You don't need to go to a Kingdom Hall of Jehovah's Witnesses to be a spiritual person. And the more and more people realize that, Watchtower's just going to start shrinking and shrinking and shrinking, and all of their sort of predictions about generations are going to look worse. It's not going to be a good situation for them. So I know people have criticized me for saying this, but I foresee Watchtower in 20 years basically changing fundamentally. Like, the Watchtower we see now will not exist 20 years from now, even 10 years from now, if I'm honest. I think they're going to be so fundamentally different because they're going to have to be forced to change some of their harmful policies because of all of the bad PR that it gets them, and they're going to just shrink. I think it's inevitable that Watchtower just shrinks to an irrelevant doomsday cult, and I guess we can all just sort of sit here and laugh at the goofy experience that we had and plan for the future to make it the very best that we can. Anyway, with all of that being said, if you're still around, don't forget to drop a like on this video and subscribe to the channel for future content, and I will see you next time. We haven't had a proper Wally ranting video. I feel like this one was just me rambling on. It was almost like a live stream, so boy howdy, we're back, baby. See you next time.